Hello scrapbookers, this is Megan and I am back with a Spiegelmom Scraps collab. So for this month we are teaming up with Creative Embellishments and I am super excited to share this layout with you. So she sent me a bunch of products and what I am going to do is I'm going to pull out these hearts and the frames and then the keys. So my idea is I have these two cute photos and here I'm writing down my idea for the title, which is These Boys Have My Heart, and then I was just writing the date down. I don't know about you, but oftentimes I get so involved in the process that if I have a title in mind, I kind of forget what it is. So sometimes I like to write it down. Here I have pulled out some of these spray mists from Shimmer's Paints, which you can get in the Spiegelmom Scraps shop. And I am pulling out some, let's see, what are these called? I think they're like trims or something from Simple Stories. They come as a full 12 by 12 sheet and then you cut them down and they're ready to just use on a layout. I am going to decide that I want to change my photo to black and white. So you can see me taking a photo of my photo, which I know that that's probably not the best way to do it. But since I was on a time limit, I couldn't wait to print it off at the store. And so I am just going to have to go back and look through my hard drive and find that photo and put it on this layout later. Right now, while my photo is printing on my Canon selfie, here you can see it is done. I am just getting ready to put layers behind my photo. So here I'm just cutting off the border, and then I have this black paper, which is from the Love and Adore collection. And I really liked how it just made the photo pop. So I am going to trim it down. And I decided to use my scissors to trim it down because I need to go to Michael's and buy some more blades for my trimmer. So I'm just going to use my scissors because, yeah, otherwise I get little fuzzies on my paper. Okay, so now I am going to use this tissue paper, and it is just a polka dot. I think I got that from Click Kits or something recently. And I just absolutely love how this turns out. I am going to kind of layer it up on itself, and I just love the way it looks. Even though it doesn't fit behind the whole photo, it still just adds such a fun texture. Sorry, I can talk, I promise. Okay, so now here I'm just pulling out a bunch of scraps from my scrap bin. And I'm trying to figure out if I want to add another layer behind the photo, but I'm going to kind of fiddle around with the scraps and decide that nope, I like the layers that I have behind the photo, and I am just going to move on after that. So here you can see I am just still fiddling with scraps. Sometimes that's just what is so fun about scrapbooking. You just fiddle with your scraps. Okay, so now what I'm going to decide to do after fiddling with a million pieces of scraps, I decide that I am going to cut this chevron paper into little chevrons and arrows, and I'm going to put it behind the photo. So at first I'm thinking I'm just going to do these two strips, and then I'm going to decide that I'm going to do a whole bunch of clusters. And I really, really love how this turned out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut up arrows, and then I'm going to also cut a couple of them that are banner shapes. And then I'm going to kind of decide to just do the arrows. I think I'm gonna cut out part of this because I just kind of fiddle with these shapes forever and ever. But make sure that you come on over and join us for our blog hop that is going on today. I will make sure to leave a link below so that you can find all of the other ladies' layouts and projects that they made for this month's hop, because let me tell you, they are amazing. I will also leave a link below to the Creative Embellishments shop. Okay, so now here I am just going to ink the edges of all of the papers with my Close to My Heart ink in Slate. And now I have all of these little cluster areas how I want them, and I'm going to bring in 2 of these hearts, and then I'm going to decide to cut off this other heart that was included as a frame because I felt like I needed a 3rd cluster because everybody loves triangles, right? So here I'm just going to kind of play around with placement of these clusters that I have, and this layout was a lot of fiddling. A lot of fiddling happened with this layout. Okay, so at first I was thinking maybe I would change my mind and do this love you phrase for my title, but I just don't really like it. So I'm just going to end up staying with my first thought, which is the heart. Sorry, I can't talk. So I'm going to set that love you aside, and then I am going to pull out the words happy heart. I did kind of change it because the first one I came up with, these boys have my heart, is kind of long. So I'm going to decide to just go with happy heart using these Pretty Gold Alphas, and they are an old thicker from American Crafts. I am going to play around with the placement of this, but initially, or not initially, I'm going to end up liking it on the right side underneath that top cluster, and it is actually going to change spots after I get everything all glued together and glued down. Okay, so now I am kind of thinking what I want to do with these chipboard pieces because they look kind of boring, just being the plain chipboard. So I'm going to pull out my Heidi Swapp Color Shine in gold, and I am going to spray this one and test it, make sure that I like the way it looks, and I love it. So I'm going to bring the other 2 over, and here you can see I have sprayed all 3 of them, and I'm going to set them aside and work on the rest of my layout. So now I'm just going to start gluing all of these pieces together, and then I think I'm going to glue them down and bring in my, oh, here you can see I decided to put some foam behind my photo, and I am just gluing that to my tissue paper, and then I'm going to start gluing everything down. I think I do bring over this, the bigger one that I am going to decide to put down here in the bottom left of the photo instead of in the top left, and I really love how that turns out. So much better than what I had started doing at the very beginning. So now I'm just going to glue down each one of these arrow clusters, and then I'm going to bring in some 3D tape, and I'm going to put that behind this this bottom heart, chipboard heart piece. Okay, so now I have that piece glued down with the 3D tape, and that stuff I just buy at Michael's in their little dollar bin section, and it's just really easy because I don't have to cut it off myself. It's just already the right shape. Okay, let's see. I keep disappearing. I don't know where I'm going. Oh, I think I'm off looking at my okay, so now here I'm just going to quickly run my heat gun over the other 2 chipboard pieces. They're still pretty wet because to get it to be so super shiny and pretty, I had to saturate each of these chipboard pieces. So yeah, they're pretty wet. And now I have them all glued down. And I'm going to pull out my Spiegelmom Scraps sequins, and these are some of the new releases. Yay, don't you love the new releases? And I am going to, this is where I decide to put Happy Heart over on the left side, and I am going to be using the Pandora's Ombre, I think is what it's called, as well as, oh gosh, I can't remember what the pink one is called, but I will have a link below so that you can find it in the shop. I am pulling out a couple other embellishment pieces, so I wanted to do some journaling on here. So I'm trying to decide where I'm going to put that tag along with the glassine bag. And then I also am thinking maybe I should add a doily. And I end up deciding I don't really like the way the doily looked. It would have looked fine. It is kind of cute and a nice little added texture, but I like it without it as well, so it works out. Here you can see I'm going to fiddle with the placement of this tag and the glassine bag. I am going to put down the title, and then I'm going to play around with the glassine bag some more, and I'm going to decide to put it up in the top cluster. And I am going to cut the bag in half, and that way I don't have to worry about having to pull up my photo. Okay, so here I am starting to glue down my sequins, and by the magic of editing, I have them all glued down now. So here you can see this is where I'm going to cut my tag and my journaling. I think I'm going to do my journaling first. I just kept it super simple. My journaling says, Jonas and Brennan are just so much fun. I wanted to go down the slide with them both on my lap. I am going to pull out some May Art ribbon in raspberry, and I'm going to tie it at the bottom just to kind of spice up the tag a little bit, and then I'm also going to put it through the loop at the top. So here is where I'm going to cut that and then put it behind the photo, glue down that glassine bag. And I just love those glassine bags. They're so easy and a nice way to do hidden journaling without having to make a pocket of your own. Makes it a little bit more simple. So here you can see I've pulled out that May Arts ribbon, or not ribbon, string. And I'm just going to embellish the tag, and this layout, I think it's pretty much done. So go ahead and come on over to my blog. I will leave a link below, like I said, so that you can find the rest of the layouts that the design team has made for this team up. We are so excited to be working with Creative Embellishments, and I hope that you enjoy all of the projects that you see this month. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.